The weather in Russia is just so fascinating this time of the year.
Oh my gosh.
You're listening to Weather with Enthusiasm.
Weather with Enthusiasm is his podcast.
Good evening. Happy 4th of July, 2024. We have something that I think much of the world missed. It makes a lot of sense why people missed it. It happened in a city where the population is under 70.
Oh my gosh.
In fact, if you were to look at Wikipedia, this place, it happened in the Arctic. The city, you could look it up on timeanddate.com. That is the Arctic. It barely makes it into the Arctic. It's 66 degrees north latitude and 0.6539. And then latitudes west, 143.7 to 17 degrees west. It's in the country that's listed here is Yukon-Kayukuk census area. That is in the Alaskan area, I believe. It is Alaska. Wikipedia has it under Chalkiyitsik, Alaska. Now, because there's so few people living there, we don't have much official weather information there. But we do have something. Well, while we're talking about the city, I'll just tell you that Wikipedia says that it means to fish with a hook at the mouth of the creek. That's what the city means. Chalkiyitsik means to fish with a hook at the mouth of the creek. It's a census-designated place, which is a CDP, in Yukon-Kayukuk Census Area, Alaska, in the United States. It is located on the south bank of the Black River, 45 miles northeast of Fort Yukon. On the National Weather Service website, it has the Fort Yukon, or it has the weather station of 29 miles northeast of Fort Yukon. At the 2010 census, the population was 69, down from 83 back in 2000. So maybe that under 70 was coming from the 2010 census, where it was 69. The population as of 2020 on Wikipedia tells us 56. That's it. So we saw one source said 95, another source said 56. I think 2022, maybe it said 95. But there's not a lot of people here. It lists it as a subarctic climate. Now, I would think a subarctic climate means it's not actually the Arctic, but it is located within the Arctic. So we'll have to look more into that to see what does subarctic climate mean. But if you look at the climatological data, you'll see like the normal high for the month of June, the normal high is 70 degrees. That's the normal high. And the normal low in the month of June is 44 degrees. The normal high in July is 73 degrees. Normal low 49 degrees. In normal high for August, 65 degrees. Normal low 41 degrees. And then that's the 3 months of summer. The hottest temperature ever. This is really what we're going to focus on right now, because it's really over here that you get to see how the tremendous the tremendous heat that we had this past week. You get to see it from the records. The hottest temperature ever reported in this city occurred in June, not July. It occurred in June. The temperature was 94 degrees Fahrenheit. It doesn't tell us the year. 94 degrees Fahrenheit, 34 degrees Celsius. It's the hottest temperature that ever occurred, and that happened in the month of June. In July, the hottest temperature ever to occur was 90 degrees, and in Celsius, that's 32 degrees. The coldest temperature to ever occur was 20 degrees. In the month of June, the coldest was 20. That's also the coldest for the summer. The coldest for July is 29. The coldest for August is 21. And things rapidly deteriorate after that. Okay, let's go back. Thursday, 1 week ago today, June 27th. Thursday, June 27th, the high temperature in the city was 92 degrees.
Holy cow!
92 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're looking at a high of 33 degrees Celsius. So again, that temperature is hotter than any recorded temperature in the month of July, but it's not hotter than any temperature in June. It has hit 94 in the city before. This is an Arctic city, so you cannot say they had an all-time high. They are short on the records, but they do have some record keeping. There has been gaps. It says the weather station was operated from August 1962 to November 1972. The weather records is therefore very sparse. So I don't know exactly if that means those were the only years where there were weather records. You can't really find, I couldn't find any climatological data on this when you looked up at the National Weather Service. But the windy.com has the airport weather observation.
Yes!
And over there you really get to see it. It'll be interesting to see what AccuWeather would have. AccuWeather doesn't always have accurate climatological data. It's close to accurate. Their forecasts are their forecasts are accurate. The forecasts could be a degree or two off, and their climatological data also could be a degree or two off. I could explain why that is. It just has to do with the frequency of how often they take the temperature. That's all. The thermometers are super accurate. It's just the National Weather Service is taking the temperature every 5 minutes, and AccuWeather isn't. So you have the temperature hit 92 degrees here a week ago, Thursday, June 27th. That's one of the hottest temperatures to ever happen in such a city. Something else that's crucial to point out is that the Environmental Canada has mentioned several times they have been issuing extreme heat warnings over the past couple of summers. And I like to read what it says. So it used to be, it would say highs 30 degrees Celsius, highs approaching 30 degrees Celsius at 29 degrees Celsius. But sometimes it says highs at 28 degrees Celsius. I've seen that 28 degrees Celsius with an extreme heat warning in effect when you deal with places in the Arctic. 28 degrees Celsius is 82 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you could find a long stretch of days where highs are 82 degrees Fahrenheit, you're dealing with a heat wave, a dangerous heat wave for that part of the world. So we have it. We have it. It started last Tuesday, was day number 1. This is June 25th. Last Tuesday, temperature hit 82 degrees. I even, maybe I'll be able to use it as an image for a screenshot. It goes Tuesday the 25th. The high was 82 degrees. Wednesday, the high was 89 degrees. Thursday, 92 degrees. Friday, 83 degrees. Saturday, 84 degrees. Sunday, 87 degrees. Monday, 87 degrees. Tuesday, 82 degrees. And that was the end. Yesterday's high was 67 degrees. So far today, we've seen a high of 62 degrees. It's not far from Fort Yukon. And if you go back to before Tuesday, we had that high on Monday of 76. That breaks up the heat. Temperatures were in the 80s before that, which we discussed this past Sunday. We didn't get these 9 consecutive days, 9 extreme heat warning advisory criteria days until after that podcast was made. The thing over here is that it's interesting they issue an extreme heat warning when overnight lows, as we pointed out, are between 35 and 40 degrees colder than what the actual temperatures are. There's not much information about the city. As we said, the population is 50-something, and according to one source, 90-something. But either way, it's very little. If you go to the Fort Yukon International Airport, we have a lot more information over there. And if you go there, we don't see the heat as being so impressive. But that Thursday temperature that we said the Chok Yitzhak, was Chok Yitzhak, however you pronounce that city, we said the high there was 92. At Fort Yukon, there was also the hottest day in Fort Yukon International Airport, 87 degrees. Most of the other days were in the upper 70s over there. but they did have an 87 degree reading. So I looked to see what the dew points were. I mean, the dew points were whatever they were. They were nothing special. We have a big cool down, which from last Sunday, the Alaska National Weather Service referred to this as a Siberian cold front moving through the state. So that's likely what's going on right now. Now, if we want to go back to see will the heat return, and it just doesn't look like it. At least through July 18th, computer models show high temperatures between 60 and 74 degrees, somewhere between there. Well, Sunday we have highs, Sunday and Monday highs in the mid-50s with rain, lots of rain actually. So that was one major thing that we mentioned, something that the world might have. The weather in Russia is just so fascinating this time of the year. You wouldn't believe how hot the temperatures get. 107 degrees is in the forecast. Consistent 107 degrees. This is for portions of southwest Russia, just on the border of the Caspian Sea. But it's not really just on the border. The 107 is just on the border, but you can go hundreds of miles to the north, and you'll see high temperatures still well into the hundreds. In fact, the hottest temperature today reports the Alexa from getting their information from AccuWeather was Novominsk. Now, I'm going to just take a look at the city to make sure I'm pronouncing it right. The name of the city, it's spelled Novouzhnsk. Some say it is in Siberia, but the high temperature today was 101 degrees. That is the hottest temperature which was reported in Russia today. Today is the 4th of July. Temperatures hit 101 degrees. The temperatures in the hundreds continue. Tomorrow's high of 101. On Shabbos, 103. Sunday, 100 degrees. We don't see humidity during the times that it gets very hot, but there are times where it does become humid there. We have thunderstorms expected Tuesday afternoon with highs in the mid-90s. Temperatures remaining in the 90s there. So, these are places which just get so cold in the winter. And it's a couple hundred miles away from the Caspian Sea. And the Caspian Sea has really warm water temperatures as well. We've already went through the fact that the northeastern portions of the Caspian Sea has very shallow water. The water temperatures actually hit 95 degrees in that part of the region, and you'll just see so many hundreds over there. It's just something totally remarkable. Whether it occurs every year or doesn't occur every year, but even if it does occur every year, that it makes it even more remarkable. Just the setup, the solar insolation setup of this planet is just something so remarkable that's what it does. It brings such intense heat into such northern latitudes, which experience such bitter winters. It's really something very, very impressive. Out here in the United States, we have the continued, excessive heat warnings in effect for those places which are dealing with it in the southern plains, Texas. Things are similar, but there is one big change, something noteworthy, something which will be developing next week from the map that I saw earlier today, and it shows a heat ridge, a major heat dome affecting the eastern portions of the Cascade Mountains in Washington, where we could be seeing temperatures hitting 110 degrees, but you could stay up to date with the National Weather Service for further details regarding exactly when that's going to be happening. But we do have a heat ridge building into the area. It's also going to affect temperatures further north as well. But the heat we spoke about in the beginning up by Fort Yukon, that looks like it has gone away for some time, for the next 2 or 3 weeks, according to our international models. There's hurricanes to track, tropical storms to track, but these are just some of the things that I don't think others have been picking up on, so we have focused in on that. You could hear all about everything else from reading any other news source, but that, especially the population thing in that city 30 to 45 miles northeast of Fort Yukon, where only perhaps 50-some people are living there. The fact that it was 92 degrees there last week, and it has never been higher than 90 in the month of July there, and it has hit 94 before. You would think this would be top headlines, but at least not the papers that I've seen. I've read nothing about it. So I wish everybody a wonderful day. Stay safe. Have a wonderful holiday. And thank you for your interest. Thank you for listening.
You're listening to Weather with Enthusiasm.
We have a powerhouse typhoon which has developed off in the Pacific Ocean. Extreme heat continues over the desert Southwest. A big shockaroo to many of you. This is especially true in regards to what's going to be going on in Alaska. We have parts of the world that are so hot right now. Temperatures are expected to go into the low 130s. What also makes the situation absolutely spectacular over there is the enormous differences between night and day. We have a remarkable weather pattern change that's going to be taking place over the next few days. We're going from one extreme to the next extreme. Small soft hail is falling with the storm. There is the possibility that snow squalls may develop. 27.1 barometric pressure. Feet of snow are falling in Japan when there's intense weather. That's a time of celebration. Just Google Weather with Enthusiasm and they're all going to come up.